2024, CISHAN tasked government stakeholders on scaling up of HIV testing, treatment services in rural areas. Ogun State unveils 2025 road tax sticker. Georgia's Prime Minister hits back as protests and resignations intensify. And in sports, dozens killed in crash at Guinea football match. A very warm welcome to you. This is MLC TV Global News, reaching you live from the city of Lokoja, the confluent state of Nigeria. I am GOVT Daniel. Thanks for joining. The federal government has ordered a comprehensive investigation into the allegation of deductions from salaries and delay in promotion areas of paramilitary agencies under the supervision of the Interior Ministry by the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System, IPPIS. Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, who is the chairman of the Civil Defense, Correctional, Fire and Immigration Service Board, CDCFIB, gave the directive on Sunday. This was convened in a statement in Abuja and signed by Ahmed Jafaru, Secretary to the Civil Defense, Correctional and Fire Immigration Services Board. He urged the personnel to remain calm while the government investigates the allegations raised. The affected agencies include the Nigerian Correctional Service, NCOS, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, Nigerian Immigration Service, NIS, and Federal Fire Services, FFS, also complained about the delay in payment of promotion areas. As the entire globe commemorates the World AIDS Day 2024, the Civil Society for HIV and AIDS in Nigeria, CISHAN, has called on the Nigerian government, civil society organizations, and all stakeholders to scale up HIV testing and treatment services, particularly in rural and hard-to-reach areas. This was contained in a statement signed by Dr. Remi Obinatu, chairman of the Governing Council of CISHAN, to the World AIDS Day 2024 in the state, titled Commemorating World AIDS Day 2024, a call to action for a resilient and sustainable HIV response in Nigeria. The group also warned the government to address the social and economic determinants of health, including poverty, stigma, and discrimination, which it said increased the HIV epidemic and as well promotes human rights and gender equality by recognizing that these are essential to ending the AIDS epidemic. According to her, CISHAN remains committed to working with all stakeholders to ensure that Nigeria achieves the 95 to 95 targets by 2030. She urges everyone to join in this effort as they strive to create a world where people living with HIV can live healthy and fulfilling lives, free from stigma and discrimination. The Acting Executive Secretary, KOGI State Agency for Controls of AIDS, IBRAHIM ANETE, has declared that no fewer than 50,000 people are currently living with HIV/AIDS in the state. ANETE disclosed this in an interactive session with journalists during the roadwalk in commemoration of the 2024 World AIDS Day in Lokoja, the state capital. The walk was organized by the Center of Integrated Health Programs in collaboration with the KOGI State Agency for the Control of AIDS. In its remarks, ANETE said, about 50,000 people are living with HIV presently, out of which over 36,000 are presently on treatment in KOGI State. He added that the state government under Governor Usman Ododo is striving to see that people who are living with HIV/AIDS are on treatment and pregnant women who are HIV positive deliver negative babies. He explained that with the current security challenges in some parts of the state, some HIV patients find it difficult to access treatments. ANETE, however, appealed to Governor Ododo to sign the anti-stigma HIV law, which was recently passed by the State House of Assembly. As part of activities marking the 2024 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, schools across Edo State have been sensitized to identify and report cases of sexual and gender-based violence. This initiative, spearheaded by the Rule of Law and Anti-Corruption Program in collaboration with the State Ministry of Social Development and Gender Issues, aims to equip young people with the knowledge and tools to address the growing challenge of SGBV. The sensitization program themed Unite Activism to End Violence Against Women and Girls aligns with the broader objectives of the European Union's Multi-Annual Indicative Program MIP 2022 to 2027 and builds on the successes of ROLAC 1. It focuses on improving access to justice for vulnerable groups, including women, children, juveniles, persons with disabilities, and victims of SGBV. The federal government has commenced 15 naira electronic levy deductions from transactions of 10,000 and above made by users of financial technology fintech companies, including OPAY, MONIEPOINT, Kuda, and others. The levy, called Electronic Money Transfer Levy (EMTL), introduced under the Finance Act 2020, places a singular and one-off levy of 15 naira on the recipients of any electronic receipt or transfer of 10,000 naira or above, and was earlier announced to take effect from September 9. The introduction of the EMTL was, however, met with opposition from Nigerians, with various groups including the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, calling on the federal government to reverse its position on the implementation of the levy. Meanwhile, in a notice sent to customers earlier in September, OPAY explained that the levy was imposed by the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, stating, however, that it did not benefit from it. The Central Bank of Nigeria has announced the launch of its new website. In a statement signed by the Acting Director of Corporate Communications, Sidi Ali, the bank said the new website will become operational on Monday at a special summit dinner event at the 30th Nigerian Economic Summit in October. The CBN Governor, Olayemi Kadusu, revealed that the bank is currently working to launch a comprehensive revamped version of its website to boost transparency and accountability. He said the newly designed website will provide a more user-friendly experience and greater access to information, ultimately supporting its commitment to transparency and accountability and building trust with its stakeholders. Olayemi Kaduso said, information is something that they are ensuring to improve on at the central bank and also bringing out activities that are closer to the people. They put out the information and allow people to have a line of sight and have an idea of where they were going and how far they are expected to continue from that particular point. The Ogun State Internal Revenue Service has partnered with the Joint Tax Board to launch the 2025 Single Interstate Road Tax Stickers. In a statement, the OGIRS noted that it aims to boost revenue generation with the tax sticker initiative, eliminate multiple road stickers, and simplify business operations. Speaking at the OGIRS conference in Abeokuta, the executive chairman of OGIRS, Olubenga Olaleye, highlighted the significance of the yearly launch to promote awareness and prevent the circulation of counterfeit stickers since 2022. Olaleye was represented by the Director of Field Operations, Hezekiah Sobayo, who stressed the importance of collaboration in overcoming challenges, saying, for any initiative there would be challenges. They are partners in progress and they must come together to make Ogun State and Nigeria better. We go on a short break. We will be right back. Please stay with us.
MLC TV Online is here. For your timely and reliable news that reaches you fast with the breaking news, choose MLC TV. Get human interest stories right here on MLC TV with entertainment, sports, business, culture, tourism, and fashion news stories all featured on MLC TV. Not forgetting political and current affairs news, state and federal government and people's matters will be discussed regularly on MLC TV. MLC TV, your one-stop online destination for unbiased, accurate news, entrepreneur ideas, and youth matters to the rest of the world. MLC TV, reaching everywhere, informing everyone.
Welcome back. Thanks, you are still there. Now on crime. The Nigerian Police Force has arraigned 130 foreign nationals before the Federal High Court in Abuja on charges related to cybercrime, including computer-related fraud, marketing scams, money laundering, and unlawful access to data. According to a statement on Monday via X by the first public relations officer, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, the arrests were made on November 3, 2024 in Jahi, a suburb of the Federal Capital Territory, following an operation conducted by the National Cybercrime Center and Zone 7 Command. During the operation, police recovered a range of sophisticated digital equipment believed to have been instrumental in the syndicate's cyber activities. Recovered items include laptops, smartphones, tablets, routers from multiple brands, a central processing unit, high-capacity servers, drones, multiple SIM cards, gaming devices, international passports, and other travel documents. The suspects facing charges that extend beyond cybercrime, including immigration offenses and human trafficking networks. Justice Ayokunle Faji of the Federal High Court Ikoyi, Lagos, has delivered a landmark judgment against Access Bank PLC, awarding 10 million naira in damages to Adenike Akinlade for the unlawful freezing of her account without a valid court order. The court described the bank's actions as unconstitutional, illegal, and a violation of the applicant's fundamental rights. Justice Faji declared that the placement of a post-no debit order on Akinlade's account was a breach of her right to access her funds, guaranteed under Section 44 of the Nigerian Constitution and Article 14 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. Illegal freezing of accounts violates fundamental rights. The court found that Access Bank placed the PND on Akinlade's account, citing an expired court order obtained through Interpol. Justice Faji emphasized that the bank acted unlawfully by continuing the restriction beyond August 4, 2022, when the order ceased to have legal effect. Furthermore, the bank failed to provide any evidence of subsequent communication from Interpol or legal justification for maintaining the freeze. Justice Faji also ruled that Access Bank violated Akinlade's rights by refusing her access to her funds even after the account was no longer under investigation. The court condemned the lack of communication or explanation for this denial and guaranteed several declarations and orders in favor of Akinlade. A viral amateur video on November 30, 2024 popped up on social media showing a woman who appeared badly battered and lying helplessly by the bush path at night clutching onto her 8-month-old baby. While being questioned by passers-by who met her there, the woman, Mrs. Ifeoma Wanfo from Ajango Village, Amaokpala, Orumba North Local Government Area, alleged that her husband had assaulted her over a misunderstanding. Coming across the video, Mrs. Soludo immediately directed for the woman to be reached out to and taken to the hospital to ensure she get the best medical care, while efforts are made to apprehend the said culprit. Mrs. Soludo, after speaking with the victim, sorted out her full bills and immediately made arrangements to take up a job with Orumba North Local Council area, from where she could make sustainable earnings to take care of her 2 kids. The governor's wife also assured that the culprit would face full justice, reiterating her commitment to protecting women and children in Anambra State from domestic violence and abuses. Mrs. Soludo further stated that the state under the present administration takes zero tolerance for abuse for any kind and maintained that anyone found guilty of such crimes would be comprehensively dealt with. Next, on our foreign news. Georgia protests. Fireworks shot at police and water cannon sprayed in Tbilisi, Georgia, has seen a fortnight of street demonstrations and a string of public resignations, triggered by the ruling party's decision to suspend a push to start talks on joining the European Union. As tens of thousands of Georgians headed back to the streets of several cities, Prime Minister Irakli Kobakize said they had fallen victims to opposition lies and he rejected calls for new elections. He confirmed reports that Georgia's ambassador to the US, David Zaokaliani, had become the latest senior diplomat to stand down, explaining that he had come under considerable pressure. But Kobakize sought to deny the reasons for the protest, saying on Sunday that they have not suspended anything that is a lie. Only 3 days before, his party Georgian Dream had accused the EU of using talks on joining the union as blackmail, and said the government had decided not to put that issue on the agenda until the end of 2028. Pro-EU protesters were out in big numbers again on Sunday night, and when fireworks were aimed at the Parliament building as well as riot police, the police responded with water cannon. Large groups of riot police huddled in side streets beside Parliament, and it was not until early on Monday that the protests on the main Rustaveli Avenue were dispersed. As demonstrators fled the area, a number of people were detained, including Zurab Japarize, one of the leaders of Opposition Alliance Coalition for Change. Next is sport updates. The government says at least 56 people have been killed in a crush at a football match in Guinea's second largest city, Nzerekore. Some reports indicate that it was sparked by a referee sending off 2 players from the visiting team and awarding a controversial penalty kick. An inquiry is being launched to find those responsible, Prime Minister Oreba said in a statement calling the event tragic and offering his condolences to the bereaved. A doctor who did not want to be named said bodies lined up as far as the eye can see in the hospital. Others are lying on the floor in the hallways. The morgue is full, he added. Local media said police had used tear gas after supporters of the visiting team, Labe, threw stones towards the pitch in anger at the referee. It all started with a contested decision by the referee. Then fans invaded the pitch. EPL Fernandes faces injury scare ahead of Arsenal clash. Manchester United's 4-0 demolition of Everton on Sunday came with a concession setback at playmaker. Bruno Fernandes suffered an injury scare ahead of the club's midweek clash with Arsenal. Portuguese midfielder delivered a stellar performance at Old Trafford, providing 2 assists as Marcus Rashford and Joshua Zirkzee both scored braces to secure Ruben Amorim's first Premier League victory as United manager. The win elevated United to 9th on the table and marked a positive turn under Amorim's leadership. However, Fernandes left the pitch late in the game, limping and wearing an ice pack around his ankle after being substituted for Alejandro Garnacho. The 30-year-old looked visibly frustrated on the bench, prompting fears about his availability for Wednesday's crucial trip to North London. And from our entertainment desk, Asake's third album, Lungu Boy, becomes the longest charting #1 album on Nigeria's biggest music chart. Asake continues his chart domination with his third album, Lungu Boy. After consecutive success with his first 2 albums, Asake released his third album in 3 years titled Lungu Boy and has now made history with his latest album, which has become the longest charting #1 album on the turntable album chart, Lungu Boy. Lungu Boy has spent 15 weeks atop the chart, which is essentially all the time since its release on August 8, 2024. With this feat, Asake now holds the record for the longest charting album and song on the turntable charts. In 2023, Asake's hit single, Lonely at the Top, became the longest charting #1 song after disposing of Omale's Godly, which held the record with 11 weeks at the summit. Since breaking into the mainstream in 2022, Asake has risen to superstardom thanks to his serial hit releases housed across his album, Mr. Money with the Vibes, and Work of Art. His third album, Lungu Boy, featured guest appearances from Stormzy, Central C, Anais Cardot, and Wizkid. MMS featuring Wizkid recently earned a nomination for Best African Song Performance for the 67th Grammy Awards, which marks ASAKE's second nomination in 2 years. And this is where we wrap it up on today's news. For more information or contributions and advert placements, please call the numbers displayed on your screen. Join us daily to watch our news and other exciting programs that would brighten your day. You can also subscribe to all our social media handles to watch our previous and subsequent programs. We are Malachite TV, reaching everywhere, informing everyone. Please be your brothers and sisters keeper to build a happier and better society together. I am GOVT Daniel. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.